I'll call this meeting of March 1st, Fat Tuesday.
Yes.
Get your punch keys.
We'll be gotta have the Punskis. We'll start with the Pledge of Allegiance. Please stand. I pledge allegiance
Allegiance
to the flag
flag
of the
of the
United States
United States of America,
America.
and to the
to the
republic
republic for which it stands,
one
one
nation,
nation,
under
under God,
indivisible.
Indivisible.
With
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 liberty
liberty and
and
justice
justice
for
for all.
all.
Thank you.
Mitch, are you aware of that?
It doesn't, yeah, I don't know. Sure, it's a formal name. Bring her in. I'll take the hit.
Well, I could just ask. I can.
You can go ahead and
I'll
ask.
inquire. Sorry to
Floor-
interrupt the meeting.
That's
Floor is
fine.
yours, Kevin.
We want to welcome everybody who should be here. So. Let's begin with the minutes of January 11th. They're on pages 1 through 3 of the packet. Are there any additions, corrections, comments, discussion?
The last version I looked at, what my name was misspelled in at least one place.
Oh my gosh.
And I know it's murderous, but I'll accept I'll take the hit.
What a guy.
Is that a motion to approve with the change?
Motion to approve
Thank you.
with correction if possible.
Do we have,
I'll second that motion with the correct spelling for Mr. Topple.
George, welcome to Northwest Indiana. If you can't spell it or pronounce it, you belong here.
That's a good point.
All those in favor signify by saying aye, or should we do a voice vote?
We should do a voice vote.
Let's, Floor, are you
Sure.
going to do the roll, please?
Yes. Mary Tanis? Mary Tanis? Kevin Brightsky?
Yes.
Thank you. Justin Keel? George Topple?
Yes,
Thank you. Mark Odell?
Yes,
Thank you. Tom Dermody? Jerome Prince? Tom McDermott or Dean Button? Bill Carroll? Jocelyn Denham? Lori Mercer? Mike Jabo? Or Matt Murphy? David Wright?
Yes,
Thank you. Blossom Maybon? Beth Schrader? Beth West?
Yes,
Thank you. Robin Barzoni Tillman? Kelly Wenger? Kelly Wenger?
yes,
Thank you. Kay Nelson or Heather Ennis? Okay, that concludes roll call and the total is 6.
Okay, that's fine. And we may have people from Valpo joining us later. I saw Mike and Beth yesterday, and they had a departments meeting this morning with Mayor Murphy.
Thank you.
Let's go on to public comment on any agenda item. Do we have anybody who wants to make public comment at this time? I don't hear anybody. Did anybody email in? Question for staff.
What did I know of?
I have not received.
We have nothing on chat or email, so we'll proceed with planning. It's update on the Metropolitan Transportation Plan. Active transportation consultant, it's informational.
Yes, I'll take that, and probably Thomas will join in as well. We at NERC are undertaking the MTP, which is our Metropolitan Transportation Plan. You have known it in the past as the 2050 plan, the 2040 plan, the 2030 plan, and on and on and on. We need to update this plan every 4 years by federal law and keep at least a 20-year planning horizon, and we are well within that 20 years. The next plan that we're looking to do is an update of the 2050 plan, and we're taking a pretty detailed look at it on several fronts, dealing with different focuses and bringing in consultants, outside consultants to help us as staff do kind of a better job at looking at more details, bringing in some fresh eyes to the region and having them work with us as a region on some of these ideas, especially when we get into statistics and analysis of improving the safety of our traveling public. One of these organizations that we just hired on is RDG, a planning firm out of Nebraska. Or is it Kansas? Can't remember. Thomas is on the phone. He can explain.
Nebraska, Omaha.
I had it first. Yeah, no, Omaha. So Nebraska firm, and we are working right now with the consultant at this time, setting up the timeline for the actual plan development. And this is going to be done in concert with several other areas of planning focus. We have a land use, we have a transit focus, and we also have a freight focus as well. And RDG will be working with us on the active transportation and on the land use. I will pass it off to Thomas about the other two in a minute, because that just became known to us recently. But we're excited to commence with a firm outside of the region, just a firm outside of our own staff. You know, we believe we've done a good job over the years, but we've, again, with limited resources at our office, we've done more of a 20,000 foot view. We're going to get down to maybe the 5,000 foot view with the region and communities, and provide a strong value towards improving our bicycle and pedestrian access region-wide. So Thomas, do you want to talk about the other two that have just been hired on?
I'm sorry, I was muted. We haven't, we've selected the firms for the other three plan elements, as Mitch just said. We have not yet received approval for the contracts from the Executive Commission. But we will be doing that at the March 17th meeting. So I'm a little hesitant to announce who was selected until it's been approved by the commission. So, but we are looking forward to working on the MTP update, and we think that we have selected 4 really great teams to help us with different portions of the plan. So, Mitch, I think you did a great job explaining what we're doing.
I appreciate it. And you're doing, you got to be careful about, procedure. I understand, but RDG has been signed on and is ready to go for us for active transportation. So, any questions from the committee on these firms and our process?
Any questions, considering what Thomas just told us? We'll stay tuned then.
Thank you, Chairman.
We'll move on to resolution 2208, recommended roadway functional classification changes, pages 4 to 7.
Yes, Mr. Chair, I will take this agenda item. Resolution, I call to your attention resolution 22-08 on pages 4 to 7 of your agenda packets. Resolution 22-08 recommends functional classification changes to 2 roadway segments in our region. In case you are not familiar with the concept of functional classification, it is a classification system of roadways that is used for roadway inventory purposes, and in some cases, eligibility for federal funds based on how a roadway functions, on a spectrum being from serving primarily local access to serving major through traffic movements. NERPC went through a holistic process of meeting with every one of our communities back in 2015 to get their feedback on how their roads should be functionally classified. And based on this feedback, we put together a functional classification system map of our region, which became embedded in our NWI 2050 plan, and which you can find on page 7 of your agenda packets on the map labeled Original NWI 2050 Map, as it appears on page 38 of the plan. So just showing you where that is in your agenda packets. You can see this map here showing the functional classification system of the whole region. So resolution 22-08 recommends making 2 changes, as I mentioned. 1 change is in the town of St. John for a segment of as of yet not yet built Klein Avenue between 93rd Avenue and 101st Avenue. That's roughly in this area right here. So because it doesn't exist yet, obviously it's not classified currently. So the proposal from this resolution is to classify it as a minor arterial. And that's consistent with both segments of Klein Avenue immediately north of this area, north of 93rd Avenue, and immediately south of this segment area, south of 101st Avenue. So it makes logical sense that that little missing segment should be classified as a minor arterial. The other change concerns a segment of roadway on County Road 250 West on the border between Porter County and the city of Valparaiso, between State Road 130 and US 30. Back in 2015, we probably just missed it, but the feedback was that it would be a local road. The recommendation here is that it be functionally classified as a minor arterial, seeing that it does serve a major through traffic movement, especially the movement from State Road 149, kind of continuing on south of State Road 130. So because of that, it is our recommendation, or staff would entertain the recommendation in resolution 22-08 to forward a favorable recommendation onto the executive board when they meet on March 17th. I'm happy to answer any questions, and the Surface Transportation Committee did recommend this resolution last Tuesday.
Are there any questions or comments for Scott, for staff? I think these are good changes personally, but do we have a motion?
I'll make that motion. This is George Topple. To recommend approval.
I'll second the motion.
208, and second, first by George, second by Mark Odell. Any other questions, comments, discussion? If not, let's do a voice vote. Floor?
Sorry, I had to unmute myself.
Okay.
Mary Tanis? Kevin Brightsky?
Yes.
Mary, was that you?
Yes,
Okay, thank you. Mary, Kevin,
I can't join the meeting.
George Topple,
Yes.
thank you. Mark Odell,
Yes.
thank you. David Wright,
Yes.
thank you. Beth West,
Yes.
thank you. And Kelly Wenger.
Yes.
That's a total of 7. Thank you.
Thank you. So that'll go to our next executive board meeting with a favorable recommendation, or full commission if we have enough members. Let's move on to programming. Resolution 2209, fiscal year 2020-2024 TIP amendment number 2022.01 and 20-22.02 on pages 8 and 9.
Good morning, Good morning, Mr. Chairman and other members of the TPC. There are several resolutions and amendments before you. Resolution 22-09 is for amendments 20-22.01 and 20-22.02, which were presented and approved by the July and September commissions respectively, their committee meeting, those commission meetings. This is shown on page 8 and 9 of the packet. However, the resolutions had an error in them, and staff felt that the easiest and most transparent option was to bring the amendments through the process again, the TPC and the commission, with a corrected worded resolution. These projects listed in the amendment were released for public comments in July and August of 2021. Do we want to vote on one of these or all these together, or as for a point of information?
Let's vote on each one separately. And
Okay. That's it for resolution 22-09.
okay. And these are on the handouts. Do we have any comments, questions, any other discussion? Do I have a motion for amendment 2022.01?
I'll make the motion to recommend the resolution 22 dash, which, no, 20-22.01,
Yes,
that we're doing them individually.
yes.
Okay, I'll make that motion to recommend.
Do I have a second?
Mark Odell, second it.
Thank you. Mr. Topol made the motion, Mr. Odell the second. Any other discussion? If not, roll call.
Mary
Laura?
Tanis,
Aye.
thank you. Kevin Brightsky,
Yes.
thank you. George Topple,
Yes.
thank you. Mark Odell,
Yes.
thank you. Mike, I'm sorry, David Wright,
Yes.
thank you. Beth West
Yes.
and Kelly Wenger.
Yes.
Thank you. That's a total of 7.
Thank you. Let's now consider amendment 20-22.02. Any other discussion on that amendment? Hearing none, let's start with the roll call vote. Floor.
Mary Tanis,
Yes.
thank you. Kevin Brightsky,
Yes.
thank you. George Topple,
Yes.
thank you. Mark Odell,
Yes.
thank you. David Wright,
Yes.
thank you. Beth West,
Yes.
thank you. And Kelly Wenger,
Yes.
thank you. And again, that's a total of 7.
Thank you. That'd be forward with a favorable recommendation to the executive board at our next meeting. Now we'll move on to amendment number 4, fiscal year 2022-2026 of the Transportation Improvement Program can be found on page 10. Do we want to let's go ahead and have Charles present for the whole thing, public comment and resolution 2210.
Okay, thank you. Resolution 22-10, Amendment 20-22.04 is the current resolution and amendment. It was released for a 21-day public comment, which opened on February 8th and closes at the end of business today. At this point, NERC has not received any comments and does not expect to receive any significant comments from the public on any of the projects on this amendment. This resolution is shown on page 10 of the packet. Prior to sending the amendment 20-2204 out for public comment, we sent the amendment to members of the Intergovernmental Consultation Group, or the ICG, for their comments. We received one comment or question from Federal Highway on how the construction dates are shown in the tip for Cherville's Kennedy Avenue project. An explanation was given and it was found acceptable. NERC received implicit approval by the ICG on February 15, 2022. There are several projects in this amendment. I'll briefly go through them. DNR had 2 projects, the movement of funds from one fiscal year on one project and the addition of a new project. Gary had a substantial increase in funds for the road rehabilitation project. Hobart had addition of one project that was previously in an out year. NDOT had one overhead sign installation project. Lake County had a bridge inspection. Munster has a pavement reconstruction addition. Porter County has 4 bridge replacement projects. Cherville is moving a project outside of the current tip year. And Valparaiso has a downtown trail project. And that's it for resolution 22-10, amendment 20-22.04.
Any comments, questions, discussion pertaining to 2210, resolution 2210.
This is Kelly Wenger. The only comment I would have is I know in a lot of these resolutions, in the resolution, it will make a statement such as, making other changes as shown on the attachment to this resolution. However, in our packet, the attachments aren't included. In the future, I would just ask that we include the attachments that are part of the resolutions that we're recommending to the commission.
I'm sorry to intervene, but I don't know if it was this one, but I believe that some of the attachments were up to 90 pages long. So that's why it was not included. It was made as a link. Thank you.
Is it a link in this packet that I'm missing?
Should be in the agenda page.
Up at the top. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Kelly, will that suffice? As far as you're concerned?
Yeah, I see the click here's. I just don't think I could. I'm having computer trouble, so I couldn't get them to work earlier this week, but yes, I'm happy with the attachments being links.
Thank you.
Point of information, I would be more than happy to share, send an email to anybody of the committee or to anyone, period, or show them where to look to get a list of the projects on the amendment at any time.
And an added note, they're also on our website, on the TPC page, meeting page, I believe.
I think you're correct. Regardless, we just want to make sure everybody has everything. It sounds like staff made that effort, and we'll do additional things if necessary. Any other discussion? If not, do I have a motion for resolution 2210?
This is George Topol. I make the motion for resolution 2210. To send forward with a favorable recommendation.
Do I have a second?
This is Mark Odell. I'll second that.
Excuse me. We had 2 seconds apparently.
I can do it.
Who's on? Mary Tanis, second. Thank you, Mary.
You're welcome.
Any other discussion? If not, Flora, let's do the roll call.
Sure. Mary Tanis.
Yes.
Thank you. Kevin Brightsky.
Yes.
Thank you. George Topol.
Yes.
Thank you. Mark Odell.
Yes.
Thank you. David Wright.
Yes.
Thank you. Beth West
Yes.
and Kelly Wenger.
Yes.
Thank you. That's a total of 7.
Thank you all. That'll be at the next executive board full commission meeting with a favorable recommendation. Mr. Bransky, let's move to resolution 2211.
Okay, 2211 has amendment 20-22.45 on pages 13 and 14. This project has 9 different railroad intersection modernizations throughout NERC's planning area. It is somewhat of an emergency, a request from NDOT, which is trying to get a forgotten project into the tip so that they can send the project to letting. It has not been sent out for public comment. I plan on sending it out. We do not expect any significant public comments on this project. There is a list of projects. They involve Porter County, or excuse me, Porter, Hammond, several projects in Hammond and LaPorte. Chesterton has a intersection, railroad intersection. And it has not been sent to the ICG. I do need to send this to the ICG. It's something I realized this morning that I hadn't done that. So I plan on getting that out to the ICG today. And then we will probably put it out for public comment later on.
Any questions, comments, discussion for Charles? If not, do I have a motion for a favorable recommendation?
I'll make a motion for a favorable recommendation for resolution 22-11.
Thank you, Mr. Topol. Do I have a second?
Mary Tanis. Second.
Thank you. Mary Tanis, second. George Topol made the motion. Any other discussion? Hearing none. Floor, roll call.
Mary Tanis,
Yes.
thank you. Kevin Brightsky,
Yes.
thank you. George Topple,
Yes.
thank you. Mark Odell,
Yes.
thank you. David Wright,
Yes.
thanks. Beth West? Beth West,
Yes. Sorry.
thank you. That's okay. Kelly Wenger? Kelly Wenger,
Yes.
thank you. That's a total of 7, and that concludes roll call. I mean, the votes.
Thank you.
Floor. Let's move on then to topical committee reports. Do we have anybody of the various topical committees to speak on their committee? Let's start with Mitch Barlow.
Yes, thank you. The 3PC Pet Pedal and Paddle Committee is in recess until May.
Okay. Put you on the spot. I'm sorry.
Kevin?
That's okay. We
Even
did
on-
have some groups that did meet, so they'll take the floor now.
Yeah. Land use has something to say.
Yes, yes. Hi, Kevin. Good morning, everybody. We had the land use committee last Wednesday, and we had like multiple stuff that we discussed. First, we had a presentation on the new land use element, as Mitch explained in the beginning of the 2050 MTP plan. And in this presentation, just presented what we are doing new than the last Northwest Indiana 2050 plan. And also talked about what we implemented out of the strategies and action items that came out of the 2050 plan. So in this one, in the new MTP, we are focusing in areas and looking at more detailed planning in these areas. So we will, one of them is the plan for the needed infrastructure to support walking, biking, and transit within the historic downtown area, and also in the older retail corridors. We will looking at to identify roadways, including state and highways, and also reimagined to enhance the livability of the Northwest Indiana communities. We will continue to work with the transit-oriented development and looking at for specific site planning, especially with the upcoming TOD funding that is coming with the next NOFA. We will plan for also a 15-minute cities or major neighborhoods, and that's like how to access everything within 15 minutes. So we will be identifying certain areas for that. Eventually, we will identify key places and corridors that need to be examined in more details after we adopt the MTP plan. So that's mainly the new things that we are focusing on. And also we had a presentation from Jennifer about the coastal resiliency self-assessment support. And so NERC will have very soon a contract with the DNR to look at the self-assessment for coastal resiliency for 32 communities within the watershed area in Northwest Indiana. So Jennifer presented, and we will talk more about that once we have the contract. Also, we had a presentation from Scott about the new RFP that we have for the e-commerce for the city of Gary. The area that we're looking for, it's between Grant Street and Burr Street, and we are looking for a planning firm to do that. And I think on Thursday is the deadline to get all of the applications. So it was like a full agenda, and also had some update on the legislative happening within the state of Indiana.
Okay, and you said there's a deadline for that application this weekend,
No, Thursday.
Saturday. Well,
No, Thursday.
well, Thursday.
Yeah.
Get a hold of Iman if you're interested. Clock's ticking. We had a meeting also with RDA and Region 1 with transit-oriented design at Valparaiso University, a nice symposium that was represented by several municipalities, particularly along the South Shore tracks, both West Corridor and the double tracking. So we're seeing many potentially great things coming out of that.
Yes, it was a good meeting here.
Any other departments?
Yes, we had a Surface Transportation Committee meeting last Tuesday, February 22nd, where we not only went over resolution 22-08 about the functional classification changes that this committee has just seen today, but we also had our very first quarterly safety update. We intend to make that a regular feature of each Surface Transportation Committee to give a quarterly update on all of the crashes that occurred in that last quarter proceeding. And so we had our first one, and we also presented on the bridge conditions in our region, as well as some of the performance measures related to reliability, freight, and congestion. And our next meeting isn't until May 24th.
So hopefully, with all this attention, we'll have fewer deaths, casualties.
Indeed.
Due to our transportation network. So I like hearing that. You know, I advocated having a target of no more than instead of, and I think we're approaching those targets a lot more realistically. Any questions, comments for Scott? Any other departments, topical committee reports? If not, let's get reports from planning partners. We're going to put Ryan Lissick on the hot seat, but they're no longer South Shore Clean Cities. So Ryan, you're going to be speaking for Laura today. Is Ryan there?
Yeah, Ryan, you are muted.
Yes.
My apologies. Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
So
Laura forgot to tell you to turn on the mic, didn't she?
no, so I'm calling by my phone because I couldn't get it on my computer. So I apologize for that.
Okay, thank you.
And I hope you can see me, or I apologize for you having to look at me. Okay, good deal. So just like you said, South Shore Clean Cities is now Drive Clean Indiana. We announced that at last month's meeting, and all of our emails are still being forwarded to the old account, and our website is now www.drivecleanindiana.org, and we'll follow up with notes and contact information after we're done here. And our new website is drivecleanindiana.org. The other thing that we had going on recently is the Indiana VW Environmental Mitigation Trust Fund Grant Program and the awards of 42 sustainable non-road vehicles and pieces of equipment for a total of $1.8 million to Drive Clean Indiana members and local region partners in the ports of Indiana. We have Indiana Harborville, for Alloy Corporation, Bulk Equipment, Cleveland Cliffs, and we'll send more information about that. We have a municipal fleet networking reception during the Work Truck Show down in Indianapolis on March 9th. Please feel free to reach out to us. We have work truck tickets that allow you to walk the exhibitor floor and attend one education session. Those are for free. And then our networking reception is at 4:30 p.m. It is free, and we are providing transportation to and from the convention center. Please feel free to reach out to us. Registration is required. President Biden and the US DOT and the US DOE announces $5 billion over 5 years for national EV charging network. For us here in Indiana, that means $99.6 million for new electric vehicle infrastructure. And this is going to be all located within 1 mile of the different interstate corridors. And this is going to be some high speed charging stations that are currently unavailable, being able to future proof. Next, we have our Michigan to Montana I-94 Clean Fuel Corridor website, talking about the different alternative fuel corridors and what is the criteria in order to be eligible for those. This is specifically for the I-94 Clean Fuel Corridor. More information on that will be provided in the email following up with this. US EPA DARE grants, they're usually released in January, but now they're coming out later in the summer. We'll keep you posted on those when they are available. Cedar Lake Police and Fire Department received their hybrid vehicles thanks to a grant funded by the Office of Energy Development. That was $50,000 from the Public Safety Resilience Grant. And Partners for Clean Air Scholarships and Luncheon, the 2022 Partners for Clean Air Scholarship Program is now accepting applications from qualified seniors in Lake Porter and the Port counties. That's up to 3 scholarships of $2,500 each will be awarded. The deadline is March 7th. So please, if you know anyone, please have them submit their recommendations and reach out to us on the website. We'll follow up with more information on that. Drive Clean Indiana and Wisconsin Clean Cities are co-hosting a 2022 winter webinar series that is celebrating women in sustainable transportation. This is going to be a webinar, and it concludes during the Women's History Month and with celebrating women in sustainable transportation. That's going to be on March 24th from 10 a.m. to 11 a.m. Central. We will follow up with links to register. And that is it.
Any questions for Ryan? If not, hello?
Thank you, Ryan. You did a great job.
Thank you, Mrs. Tanis.
You're welcome.
Do we have any other planning partners online with us today? I don't hear or see any. Do we have some staff announcements? Do we have staff announcements? Nope.
I think the only announcement to make was made earlier regarding future meetings. We're still, abiding by the governor's orders. And, as a staff, we will internally, discuss what we do from here, depending on what the state of Indiana decides to do going forward. So, we're in a state where COVID is definitely ebbing, and that's a great thing. And we just have to kind of roll with the times, but we'll definitely be very very careful to make sure we communicate to all of you what our next steps will be.
And you'll be notified via the web. So at the very least, we'll have virtual or Zoom meetings, but hopefully we'll be all in person soon. So the upcoming meetings are Finance and Personnel, March 17th at 8 a.m. and NERC Executive Board meeting, March 17th at 9 a.m. As far as I know, both are Zoom meetings as well. Is that correct?
At this point, yes, sir.
No, we don't know, and if the
We don't-
governor's order
this
is not
point, yeah.
extended, we are not certain at this point.
Even 1 week out, we're not certain.
Well, that's it.
Well-
At this point, it would be Zoom, but right, it could change, definitely.
I understand. Thank you. Our next technical planning committee is scheduled for Tuesday, April 5th, 2022 at 10 a.m. And we'll keep you posted as to whether it's going to be Zoom or live or both. Thank you. Do I have a motion to adjourn?
I'll move.
Mark Odell, you have that motion.
Second.
First by Mark Odell, second by George Topel. Thank you all for participating, being here. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Bye all.
Happy Punchki
Thanks.
Day.